Did you know that every single day across North America, more than 6,300, yes, 6,300 people daily hear the words, "You have cancer"? That's over 2.3 million people every year. Behind every diagnosis is a family, a story, fears, prayers, and countless questions. Maybe you have experienced cancer yourself, or someone you love has. Today, we are talking about what it is to look like to trust God when life changes in an instant. So, I want to welcome you to Meant to Live podcast. This podcast is where we explore what it means to live fully in spirit, mind, and body. Wherever you're looking to grow in your faith, strengthen your mindset, or become the person God creates you, you are in the right place. My name is Paulo Cardoso, and we have Mr.
Nathan Weaver, the wonderful
That.
co-host.
you know, I love today's episode. I always say this, but every episode I love, and this episode especially, it's very touch in my heart because I have been learning more and more about Nathan's story. And today Nathan is going to share his own story, his battle with the cancer, how he learned to trust God in this season of his life, the importance of speaking words of faith, right, Nathan, and how he found hope. Even probably there was moments he felt, well, I don't know what to do now. How can I still have faith? So wherever you or someone you love is walking through a difficult season, today is going to be a great episode. So Nathan, share a little bit more with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Paulo, thank you so much. Stick around to the end. We're going to give you actually 3 amazing tips. If you've been diagnosed with something, I'm going to tell you specifically cancer, 3 things that I would have done had I known what I know now in 2018. So, first of all, 2018, that was when it happened. Getting a call from a doctor, and it was a call for me, not in the office, because my doctor was in Toronto. I
Mm,
lived in California at the time. And so she gave me the news. I was at work at my desk, working away, when the doctor called to say, these are the results of the tests. I remember going out to the hallway, sitting down in a chair in the lobby,
yeah.
and a friend who was there came out and sat with me and said, "What's going on?" And I opened up, shared what the doctor said, and
Wow.
he literally sat and put his arm around me. He cried with me, said, "I don't have the answers, but I'm here for you,
Wow.
whatever you need." Um,
Mm,
I didn't go tell my wife right away because I knew it wasn't going to be received very well. I actually told her sister right away, and then it was 3 or 4 days later that I told my wife, because I knew she would call her sister. So I wanted
mm,
her sister to process and be able to encourage her when she called. Uh, Fast forward a few days to when I told my wife, I was literally sick to my stomach before telling her, not because of the cancer, but because I
mm.
didn't want to put that on her. I didn't want her to have to carry that load with me. Obviously, we're married. That's what you do. You carry the load for each other.
Yeah.
But I knew the weight was going to be really heavy and uncomfortable. So it was one of those things that was worse than talking to the doctor, sharing it with my wife, and um, it was tough for sure.
And
That
your
was a tough
kids,
moment.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, and we had 3 kids at the time. They were in, like, I think grade 6, grade 3, and grade 9. They were not old kids; they were young kids. And so, how do you communicate
Yeah.
what's going on? How do you reassure
Yeah.
them that I'm not going to die? I'm going to live.
Mm,
It's just a diagnosis. And that's, I think, one of the first things I want to touch on. Doctors are wonderful. Doctors are a great resource, but doctors often give you, like, the worst of the worst case scenario.
mhm,
Their job is not to encourage you and raise your expectations. And so they give
mhm,
you a diagnosis, but I had a friend who reminded me early on in the process, and this is a friend who also beat cancer. And she said, the doctor's diagnosis, I don't own it. So I don't ever tell people the words, quote unquote, I have this. You say the doctor's diagnosed me with blah, blah,
Mm,
blah, whatever it is. You create a separation because once we take ownership of something, then we give it a foothold in our life. We give it a foothold in our spirit. We give it a foothold in our mind, and we give it a
yeah,
foothold in our body.
yeah.
And so with something like a sickness like cancer or other stuff, diabetes or high blood pressure, whatever it is, once you own that, you've given it a foothold. It doesn't mean you ignore it. There's a lot of things I did to not ignore the
Yeah.
diagnosis, but one of the things I did was to not own the diagnosis. I acknowledge
So
it, but don't own it.
so one thing I'm hearing here, and I think it's so important, is what we say is where we stay. So if you keep repeating
Yeah.
yourself, I have a cancer, I have this, I have that, you are actually
Uh-huh.
believing that that's your new identity, right?
Yeah, and in fact, it's really important to do the opposite. I found my mind, dealing with my mind with this diagnosis was really hard. You had to go, okay, I'm in my 30s. What is my future? Am I meant to live? Do I
Yeah.
have a future? Will I see my kids get married? Will I hold my grandkids? And so for me, I had to actually flip the words around. So rather
Yeah.
than taking ownership of a diagnosis, I had to take ownership of my future, grab hold of
Mm,
it with the words that I would say and pull them close. So I would always have to remind myself, I do have a future. I will live a long life. I'm going to hold my grandkids. I'm going to see my kids get married. I will have the pleasure of walking my daughters down the aisle one day. So it's not just about not doing something, it's about also what is the opposite that I do need to do. So I think that's the first thing that I would say if you're diagnosed, Paulo, is the mindset and the words that you use being so important.
so one another point I want to bring here, it's what you were saying, and I strongly believe that's essential, is understand that you don't need to go through this by yourself. You know,
Oh
like
man.
it is hard, as Nathan say, it was so hard for him to share with his family, but at the same time, I am sure brought to him some type of comfort, you know. So if you're going through something like this, you're listening to us or watching us, Nathan, would you encourage them to share those news, even though it's very hard to people
Yeah.
around them, because you are a witness that because you shared, you are able to get a better foundation besides of Jesus to go through this moment?
Yeah, so I think there's a strategy behind it. So we all have people in our life who encourage us, and
Yeah.
then often we have people who maybe don't encourage us the same way. So this is a battle. This is quite honestly, it's a life or death type of thing. And so everything you do has to be done with the utmost intention. So
Yeah.
if you have somebody, Paulo, and you go into the gym and they keep going, I don't see you developing any muscles. What do you go to
Mm,
the gym for? It's not making a difference. How does that make you feel? Does that encourage you to go to the gym? Not really.
not at all.
And it's the same with the diagnosis. There were people that I shared it with, and when I would see them, they would look at me with a sadness in their
Mm,
eyes. They would look at me like, I'm so glad I'm not you. You're about to die. This is awful. And I had to learn that not everybody is as good a friend as you think, or not everybody is as good of a support as you think, might be a better word. They were well-intentioned people. However, they didn't have the faith and expectation for me to live a long
makes
life.
sense.
Their expectation was more in line with the doctor's negative diagnosis. And so be targeted with who you share this journey with. You need people who will put courage in you, not withdraw it from you. So that's huge. It's huge.
So that was the first point that you want to talk today about the cancer, the identity, right? You didn't own the
Yeah,
cancer. You understand that the doctor said you the diagnosis you have cancer, but you never took that as an ownership. What is the
that's right.
second point of this topic?
Yeah, I think the second point in your mind, and they kind of go together, but it's deciding that you're going to live.
Mm. And that's
It's,
crucial.
yeah, I mean, it's so easy sometimes to just want to give up. And not just with a diagnosis like this, but for people in all over the place. You
Yep.
encounter stuff that's really hard in life. And we see around us all the time people who just give up. And so I would say you have to purpose your mind on I will not give up, I'm going to live. And then say, what
Mm,
are the things I have to do that? Because intention without action is just wishful thinking. You actually have to do something with that intention. Um, for me, what I started doing after the diagnosis, I right away went and got a gym membership. I started
mm,
working out muscles and cardio. I think it was mid-January that I was diagnosed. Um, and then in mid-April, I ran my first triathlon in Napa Valley. And
that's
so
amazing.
it was something that I'd always
Was that
wanted to do.
that one that you got last place?
What a clown, buddy.
Come on, brother. Just joking. Sorry, keep
Unbelievable.
going.
Unbelievable. But it was one of those things I'd always wanted to do.
Yeah,
At the
yeah,
same time, I always made excuses because I always had more
yeah,
time. So when you get a diagnosis, you actually realize the frailty of life and the value of life. And so you have to start going, well, wait a minute. Why wait? There's not any time like the present to do something. You have a dream, you have an idea, go after it. And that was one of my dreams. And it was also part of staying healthy and staying strong. Was
yeah.
let's go run some triathlons. Let's be healthy. Let's not give up. And part of
Do
that
you
was
know?
also showing my wife and my kids that I intend to live. I'm not going to
Yeah.
lay in a bed.
Do you know what you were saying? Just come to my mind. It's so true. How many people, including ourselves, like we decide to do things that we always wanted when we go through a trauma.
Yeah.
Like it's
Don't wait.
crazy to think. Don't wait. Let's just do it, right? But here's a question for you: like, was there ever a moment when fear tried to take over? Even though you try to have a good mindset, believe in everything that is going to work the way God wants to work, but you're trying your best. But do you know the fear when maybe you look to your family, you don't say nothing to nobody, no look to your wife, to your kids, and you think like, what if, you know?
Yeah.
Um, there was there's moments like that, and how did you choose to trust God instead of those circumstances?
Yeah. There's not a long stretch that doesn't go by where your mind doesn't try and tell you lies or lead you down
Yeah.
a negative path. We experience it in all aspects of life with cancer. It's uh, constantly prevalent as far as you know your frailty, if you can say it like that, or that the human body is only meant to live for X amount of time.
Yeah.
Uh, and so what are you doing with that time? And so it's really easy sometimes to believe the lies.
Mm,
And I think mentally, we all struggle with stuff at different times. So how do
yes.
we deal with it? For me, gratitude is actually one of the best things. And I mean, honestly, yesterday I was having a day that I just felt really down, and my wife and my daughters all separately were like, "What are you grateful for? What are you thankful for?"
Yes. Yes.
almost bullying me into gratitude, right? But it does shift your mindset. It helps snap you out of embracing that negative and saying, no, no, look at the good that is around. Look at the good that I have. I am a man with a future. I am
Yes.
thankful for all of these
Yes.
different things. And that shifts your mind off of the negative.
Mm,
When we dwell on the negative, it has the opposite effect of gratitude. So the best way to combat the negative thoughts is with gratitude. It is like kryptonite.
yes.
Mhm. Have you ever experienced having to do something like that too?
Well, honestly, yes. And I don't have any diagnostic of health issues.
Yeah.
Um, but sometimes even mentally, right? Like we have people around us and going through things like that. And the first thing we want to do first is feel sorry for them. Second is stop everything we are doing and just imagine all the bad things, right? Oh my God, my friend is doing this, poor person. Why is God allowing this happen to them? And, try to go in the dark place. So the first thing I do is actually I pray, I talk to my wife, I talk to my friends, I vent, I try to get advice, I try to always look at good things on the bad situation. But it's a work in progress, and we already spoke a little bit about a topic like this on one of our
Hmm.
podcasts, the power of words. So if you didn't hear, go back and look on our YouTube channel or on the other channels you can listen to, and you're gonna understand the power of your own words, as Nathan is saying. But Nathan, I would like to go back. Um, what are some practical things that
Yeah.
help you to keep your hope alive on difficult days? Like what's helping you? Because I'm sure it's not gone. There are days, as you even said, yesterday was one of those days, and your family noticed that, and they came together and they bully you
Yeah.
with the gratitude.
Um, yeah. So there was a moment with some of the treatments in the early times that the doctors were giving me where one of the known side effects of the treatment was like suicidal thoughts and suicidal tendencies. So for me, I've always been a really um, positive person. I always have a really good outlook. I expect a great future, but this was a season where that side effect actually took hold
I
of
see.
me. And I was trying to fight it on my own. I wasn't telling anybody that 24/7. I was thinking of ways to kill myself. So to actually sit down and be vulnerable and share that with
Yes.
my wife and break down in tears, and be embraced by her and supported by her. We tell ourselves lies all the time of like, I can't share this. This is so bad. What will they think? Um,
Yes.
and that was what I had done at that moment. I told myself, I can't let anybody know. I have to keep a facade of like, I'm strong, I'm a man. How could I suffer from a mind issue? And, um, you know, be vulnerable with people around you and be real. Don't put up a facade. It's a hard thing. Your
It
diagnosis is
is.
not easy. So you don't have to pretend everything's all good. If you're struggling, don't struggle alone.
Mm. That's a great advice, especially knowing, right? So you for you that are listening to us or watching us, Nathan and I were blown away when we saw the statistics of 6,300 people just alone in the US and Canada daily are diagnosed with the cancer. Imagine how many of those people are going through a similar situation of thinking take their lives not to make their families suffer with them, or why will they go through that treatment knowing it's not going to be fun. So one of the things that they say here is so important. being vulnerable, asking for help is actually make you stronger. And knowing Nathan, one few things I know Nathan does daily. I know you do daily prayers, you love to worship, you read the scripture, you have a community of Christian, a community of people that come together to support you, you know. And as you even said, you are choosing gratitude even when you're suffering. So
Hmm.
those things are so important. So anyone that's listening to this podcast, even this morning at 6:30 a.m., I sent a text to a friend of mine from the gym. She is 50 something years old and she was diagnosed with the cancer. And she was sharing with me yesterday that the support she's receiving from the gym community, from the gym, is much more than she's receiving for her own family.
Crazy.
And without that community, that the gym, she wouldn't be able to start her chemo today because she was too scared. So the only thing I did was send a text message, say, "Hey, I'm thinking about you. You are not alone. I love you. God loves you. You got this." And she texted me back saying, "Thank you for this because I need it." So if you are listening and you are not, you are like me, you don't have a diagnostic, but you know people that are going through a similar situation than Nathan, that's how we can support them. It's just to give them love. It's all about love.
Don't treat them like they're dying. Treat them like they have a
No.
future. Looking back, I've
Yes.
learned so much more. And one of the things that I absolutely would have changed, and I want to say this up front, this is not medical advice. Don't come sue me, blah,
Yes.
blah, blah. Disclaimer, disclaimer. But uh, think about the foods you put in your body. So
Yes.
there was a scientist uh, back in the 30s and 40s, Otto Warburg, who proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that cancer thrives off of glucose and glutamine. You can look up his research, look up Dr. Thomas Seyfried at Boston College, hundreds and hundreds of papers posted. So do your research, but cut sugar out of your diet. Glucose is sugar. So the first thing I would have done had I known this then is I would have gone 100% keto, no sugar whatsoever in my diet, and try and starve out as much of the cancer as possible. So many people get a diagnosis and they think drugs, but they don't think, what am I putting in my body aside from
Mm.
drugs? And so get your body as strong as possible. Pay attention to the foods that you eat. Shop the outside of the grocery. Eat the whole foods,
Yes.
the vegetables, eat the meats. Those are good things for you. Stay away from the processed stuff. Stop eating the fast food and cut 100% the sugar. That means pasta is carbs. Your body turns that into sugar. Can be good for other things, but for fighting cancer, for tumors, that's not a good, healthy thing.
Mm.
Um, even your fruits, you want to be wise and maybe cut your fruits out because so many of them are loaded with sugar. Yes, it's natural, but it is still sugar. So
Yeah.
I would go full on 30 to 60 days of keto only diet, put your body into ketosis and try and shrink the tumor down. And I've heard so many stories, testimonies of people who've done that um,
Yeah.
with incurable diseases. And then I would say also go and research because what your doctor says lives in a microcosm of space, but there's a whole lot of information outside of that. So use wisdom,
Hmm.
look at the evidence, and make your decisions. But there's a whole lot that our
Hmm.
medical system is not configured to help you with. So that's huge. If you've been diagnosed recently or you know someone who has,
Hmm.
100% cut sugar immediately. That's the biggest thing you can
Yeah.
do to being successful in living.
And just one thing I want to point here. You don't need to wait to get diagnostic
You're right.
with the
Thank you.
cancer to change,
Yeah.
right? So I think there's a difference between being active and being proactive, right? And active means like we're acting what's happening right now. But the proactive is like, wait, I don't want to wait until I get sick. I get a disease to start to change. Let's start the change now. And you can do smaller ways to change that. For instance, I cut sugar 2.5 years ago.
Wow,
I
awesome.
still eating pasta, but I don't eat refined sugar, right? And that's really helped me. Doesn't mean
Mhm.
I had a disease to do this. That was something I decided to do. So I think what Nathan saying here is so important is like ensure what you're eating, you put in your body, it's it's a good quality. Nathan, going back, looking back now, what did the cancer teach you that you might never have learned otherwise?
I think the value of life, man. That's the most basic thing. We take it for granted. When you're healthy, you don't think my days are numbered. But in the Bible, it's very clear. Every one of us from the beginning of time, our days are numbered. Our bodies, our physical bodies, will only be alive so long. So the hours you spend every week sitting on a couch watching a square electronic box of lights, the hours you spend on your phone.
Yeah,
I mean, how many times do you go out and you see people walking together, sitting together at a coffee shop together, and they're each sitting on their phone doing this together, but having no human interaction? It's like, come on, put your phones away, people. This is stupid. So
hmm,
there is such value in life, and for me, I just want to see people realize that. I want to see people come fully alive in who God created them to be and live every day. Don't make excuses. Actually
yeah,
stand up and live. So
yes,
that's huge. And I just want to recap
yes,
real quick as we wrap here, Paulo. Three things that I would do had I known what I know now. Some I did do, some I didn't. But number one, pay attention to your
yeah,
mind. What are you thinking about? Be thankful. Don't dwell on the negative. Don't own it. Think about your future. Declare your future. Proclaim your future. So that's the first thing with your mind. Second thing with your spirit. Who did God make you to be? God made you to live. God made you to have a great
yes,
life. God said when he made you, you're very good. So remember those things. With those two things, I would say surround yourself with people who believe the same, who expect you to live, who want you to live, and who will support you. And then the third thing, pay attention
yes,
to your body. Like, go to the gym. Don't wait for a diagnosis.
mm,
Stay active. Even if you don't go to the gym, walk,
yes,
do exercise, pay attention to what you're
yes,
putting in your body. If it's processed, don't buy it.
hmm,
Stick to some whole foods. It might be a
yes,
radical change for some of you, but with AI, you can ask it for recipes and it'll tell you how to make stuff really easily out of
yeah,
whole foods. It's not actually hard.
yeah.
So take ownership of your life. Don't pass it off. You have a great life. You have a great future. Go live.
Yeah, no, Nathan, thank you so much for sharing this. One of the main things I think I'm taking here, of course, everything you said is so important. I'm taking so serious. One of the points you brought is one of the greatest lies people believes after diagnostic is my life is over.
Yeah,
People
it's not.
believe that their life is over, but remember, the gospel says your diagnostics is part of your story, not your identity. And Nathan always rephrased that. So don't believe on that. Believe that you can do anything you want in your mind
Mhm.
and follow those steps of someone that are going through a disease like cancer, like Nathan. Just going back, we are not doctors. We're not telling you to stop any treatment or anything. We're telling you, according with Nathan's lifestyle, how this point is that he suggests us to follow, being active or being
Mhm.
proactive can help your life, shape your life in a better way possible.
Yeah,
Anything
for
else,
sure.
Nathan?
Yeah, I just want to say one last thing. Diagnosis isn't the end. Since I was diagnosed, I've lived in two different countries. I've done three triathlons. I've been to Europe. I went to Africa and I walked and stood face to face with wild lions. I've had the joy of doing incredible experiences, climbing mountains, visiting oceans, underwater creatures, swimming with them. Um, I would say I wish I did more of that before the diagnosis. Why did I wait so long? Don't be like that. Just go live. Go enjoy life. The
Yeah,
world is an amazing
don't be
place.
like an old man.
Don't live with
Don't be like an
regrets and go,
old
I
man
wish,
like
I
Nathan to
wish.
start to live a life.
Yeah, yeah. Shut up. Just because
Love
I'm
it.
older than you,
I
eh?
love it, brother. I love
Anyways,
this, man. I
appreciate
know,
you,
like I'm
Paulo.
28, he's 29. So we good. Thank you so much, everybody. Again, if you like this podcast, share with your friends and your family. And the way you can support us is just subscribe and like our videos. That's
Yeah.
all. That's all we want for you guys. God bless you all. And we talk again next Wednesday.
Boom.